All right, so we are going to finish up here with number 2 on the back side, or on the other side on page 11 in your packet. And we've got negative 2x squared plus 2x minus 1 equals 0. Our value of a is negative 2, b is 2, and c is negative 1. So x equals negative b, and b is 2, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and our a is negative 2, and our c is a negative 1, divided by 2 times a, and our value of a is negative 2. All right, so now we just need to simplify. We have x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root 2 squared. That gives us a 4. 2 negatives equal a positive. So 4 times 2 is 8 times a negative 1 divided by 2a, and 2 times negative 4 gives me 2 times negative 2 gives me a negative 4. And we're going to continue on with simplifying. So I've got a negative 2 here, plus or minus the square root of 4. And then I have a positive and a negative. These are multiplied together, and it gives me a negative 8 divided by negative 4. And we're going to continue on with simplifying. I've got x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 minus 8. 4, take away 8, I get negative 4 divided by negative 4. And the crazy thing here is 4 is the same as 2 times 2, right? So this is the same as x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 2 times 2, and we've got a negative 4 here. Two numbers that are the same are 2's, and it bumps outside, but I'm left with an imaginary 1 here because that negative sign is there. So I'm left with x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root. 2 moves outside, and I have a negative 1 left under the square root, divided by negative 4. So whenever we see a negative under the square root, we're going to call those imaginary numbers. Imaginary numbers, when there is a negative under the square root. Sometimes people say no solution because you can't have a negative under the square root. I'm not sure what Miss Ables would say about that, so maybe we can ask her. I should have thought of that. But I can cut each of these numbers in half. Half of 2 is 1, half of 2 is 1, and half of 4 is 2. So now I'm left with x equals negative 1 plus or minus a positive 1 root negative 1, lots of 1's, divided by a negative 2. The key thing here is you have a negative under the square root. That's an imaginary number, and sometimes people say no solution because you can't have a negative under the square root. So there you have it, our two different types of problems. Here we got x equals a number. Here we have a negative under the square root. And then on all of the other problems that we were working on, we ended up with, let's see, where is it? We ended up with numbers in all 3 spots and a number under the square root. All right, so hopefully that helps you guys with our note.